Welcome to yesterday's airlines. In this video I'm going to take a look at some of the sample models that NG Models have sent me over the last year and a half or so. It's great to be able to see the models without any livery applied to them. It gives you a really good opportunity to see how good or bad the molds really are. And NG have been really accommodating, sending me through a really high variety of different new molds that they've produced, including the most recent one, which is the Y20 Come Peng. I contacted NG Models quite quickly after they came on the marketplace with their new 757-200 mould, and we built a good relationship in the next few months, and gradually NG have started sending me through samples of the moulds before they go into production, partly so I can take a look at them myself and partly so that I can review them on my website Yesterday's Airlines. So keep on checking out the website, because pretty much whenever NG send or have a new mould to deliver, then I'm likely to get a copy of it first. In fact, there's a good chance that I'll be getting the new Boeing 747 SP soon. Now, the first new sample moulds that NG sent through to me were the trio of new Tristars that they produced, and these have been awesome. All of these moulds are of really, really high quality, and you can see that straight away from the sample models. Firstly, we've got the base model, the Tristar 1. It's a really effective attempt at producing a Tristar. Yeah, the front of the engine should perhaps be slanted a bit more, and maybe the shape of the main undercarriage doors isn't quite perfect, but compared to all the older moulds, and especially the more recent efforts from Gemini and Loch Ness models, then this is really a killer mould. The shape is almost perfect all around, and you know, it's become one of my favourite moulds in recent times. A really, really nice effort. The Tristar 200 mould is obviously almost exactly the same as the one, except that it has the addition of the Frisbee fairing, which actually is surprisingly difficult to put as an extra addition on a 1/400 scale mould, because it necessitates a completely new fuselage and tail moulding, especially when, as you can see with this mould, the tail is connected directly to the fuselage. So really good to see that extra effort being put in, and it's a really, really nicely done mould. And of course, the last of the Tristars is the Tristar 500, which is not just a short Tristar 1 or 200. It is substantially different, and NG Models are the only people in 1/400 scale to even take a good look at a Tristar 500 and produce an accurate mould. That is, except for one of the first moulds by Dragon. Certainly, the Gemini Jets effort that has been out and about recently and the Loch Ness Models effort are both awful in comparison. Neither of them take into account the differences of a Tristar 500, which includes longer wingspan and a completely different fairing fore and aft of the wing. It's another really impressive mould, really beautifully made. Here we go. And of course, the one thing that NG has really got right on these is the nose. Just looks awesome. The next mould that NG produced was the Boeing 787, and I actually didn't get a sample of that one. But NG afterwards kept on sending me samples of other new moulds they're producing, and as you can see here, we've got the Airbus A330-300. Now, the A330 is again a really nicely produced mould. It looks pretty much as good as anybody else's A330. Yeah, the engines are sometimes a little bit close to the ground because this part of the engine pylon is not perfect. But in general, it's got a great shape. It's a really nice mould and good competition for all the other A330s which are out and about in the market at the moment. And there are lots. Really pretty good, and another great option for A330s. I also received a copy of the A330-200, but as you can see, this one didn't transit so well, and it's the bane of anybody who lives in New Zealand, has to get parcels from elsewhere in the world. Broken undercarriage. I did fix the nose gear, but it's kind of come off again, and frankly, I can't be bothered to try. It takes a lot of effort to get nose gears to stay on when you've broken them in that position. But regardless, you can see the mould is still really nice. Just like the 300 series, really very good. Of course, you can see that NG don't skimp on the details, and you can see here that the A330-200 has an ever so slightly taller vertical stabilizer than the 300, which is completely accurate for the type. Really good attention to detail from NG models. Next up were the Boeing 737-800s, and NG sent me through one with winglets and one without. Again, really nice representations, easily the best 737 next generation mold that's ever been produced. I was pretty happy with the Panda Models version. This one knocks it out of the water. It's really very, very good. Sometimes people have complained a little about the length of the undercarriage. It's pretty good though in this case, and often I think it's due to the way it's been fitted as opposed to the mold itself. Really very nice 737s. The samples don't come with stand holes, but they display really nicely anyway. NG have always shown an interest in the more unusual, and it was something of a surprise when they produced an Airbus Beluga XL, and this is a really nice model. They actually sent me 3 versions of the sample. This one in white, a silver one, and actually one completely disassembled, which was pretty awesome because you could see all the individual parts that go into making the mold up. Really cool model, really interesting, really hyper accurate yet again. Can't fault this one. Doesn't have the opening door like the JC Wings admittedly, but it's a really, really nice model. Superb. And last up is the Xi'an Y20 Kunpeng. Never underestimate the power or the Chinese market nowadays. Obviously only the People's Liberation Army Air Force fly these things, but that is enough interest in China to mean that you're getting not just one, but 2 molds, because this is actually the second version of the Kunpeng which has been produced. Panda Models had access to one, which then passed to NG. That had a rather large wing seam. NG have now reproduced it without the wing seam. It looks excellent. Really, really nice. And this is going to get a review at Yesterday's Airlines in detail in the next month. So keep an eye out for that review coming at the website, which will provide a detailed analysis of the entire mold. But as you can see, as often the case with NG Models molds, it's bloody good. And so there's not a lot of minus points to say about it. So I hope you've enjoyed this really quick whistle-stop tour of the sample models that NG have sent to me. NG have really revolutionised 400 scale, and they've been a pleasure to work with over the last couple of years. I'm really, really honoured to have been able to review these molds pretty much as the first person outside of China to see them, and to, give detailed information out to the collectors. So, as always, keep looking at the website, yesterdaysairlines.com, for new information about NG models and other manufacturers, and all the news and reviews. Thanks very much.